This is a video that I really didn't want to make, but it's a video that I feel that I have to make, in the sense that I feel that you guys deserve to know what's been going on with me over the last year plus of my life. I touched on it a little bit in a previous video like this that I had made over the summer, that basically I said there was a lot of family issues going on, and that there was a lot of just bullshit going on that I couldn't really talk about on camera at that point in time, and that I just didn't really have the time or the energy or the drive to really post a lot on here. But some things have taken place recently that kind of helped bring like a closure to kind of capture everything that was going on and kind of lock it away in a sense. So in this video I'm going to tell you guys basically exactly what was going on and the raw details behind a lot of it. So keep in mind, a lot of this is going to be just straight to the point and exactly as it happened. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to tell you basically exactly what was going on. My grandfather has Alzheimer's, and if you guys don't know what Alzheimer's is, which I'm assuming most of you do, it is a neurological disease that basically rots your brain as it's sitting in your head. You start to deteriorate from the inside out, and your thought processes just deteriorate with the rest of your brain, and you sort of start reverting backwards instead of forwards, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to bring to light a lot of the symptoms and a lot of the things that happened between me and my mother and my grandfather and my whole family trying to battle this disease with my grandfather over the last year of my life. I said in a post I made on Facebook about this a couple months ago that I was going to make a video explaining everything. I kind of mapped out everything that I'm going to tell you guys, so just kind of bear with me. It started coming to light in December of 2015, where he really started to show symptoms, but at the time we didn't really know what it was. We thought he was just being nasty to us. We thought it was just another thing that we were going through, as far as, you know, another fight or something else to just start shit over. But in December, around Christmas week of 2015, my grandfather had accused my mother of stealing $3,000 out of his stash of savings that he had hidden in his room. And we tried to explain to him that that wasn't the case, and that, you know, neither of us would ever touch any of his belongings, especially money. And we couldn't talk him out of it. It was set in his brain that one of us had taken that money. And he said that he had $10,000. The next time he went to count it, he was $3,000 short, and he only had $7,000. But we found out afterwards that he had $7,300. So, and they were all in hundreds and fifties as far as I know. And he had 3 extra $100 bills after the 7,000 was counted. So in his mind, he slipped and just counted, you know, 6,900, 7,000, and then the extra $300 bills, he just counted 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. It didn't register. So he thought that we had stolen $3,000 from him. But that one blew over, and we didn't really have much of a problem after that for the next couple of months, other than little things here and there. But then in March of 2016, a couple months later, he lost his wallet. He misplaced his wallet somewhere in the house or somewhere in the yard. We didn't know where it was. And he blamed me and my mother for taking his wallet from him somehow and hiding it and taking all the money and God knows what else that he might have thought that we did with it. The wallet was missing for 5 days. We were tearing the house apart and fighting tooth and nail with him. Just every chance that he got, he would start these screaming matches with us over that wallet and saying he was going to call the cops on us and he knows we did it, and just all this stuff that he was thinking in his head that was just figments of his imagination because of the disease that we didn't know just yet that he had. 5 days later, I was at work and I got a phone call from my mom saying that she found the wallet with everything intact, and he had it placed somewhere in his shower room that's downstairs in beside his bedroom, and it was like underneath a sponge or something inside the cabinet under the sink. We don't know why he put it there or when he put it there. For what reason, we don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he was looking for something and he sat it there and just forgot about it. But it was just in the most obscure place. So it was at that point that we were starting to wonder if it was indeed Alzheimer's, because other family members that were related to his side of the family had Alzheimer's, and it was basically the same exact thing that we were going through. It was the same signs. So there was an appointment scheduled with his family physician. The family doctor didn't want to do anything as far as medicating him just yet, or, you know, placing him anywhere just yet. It was just, you know, let's see what he has. Let's see if it's even anything or if he's just being strange. So it was April of 2016. He had a CAT scan or a CT scan scheduled for his brain to see if there was anything abnormal. And turns out it showed basically nothing to do with the disease at all, which a CAT scan wouldn't show that kind of disease or that kind of erosion in his brain. That's not what it's for. But the doctor said that he was mainly just looking for a tumor or something else wrong in that respect, because another family member, relative of ours, had a brain tumor that was malignant, and she was starting to act real funny. She was getting real forgetful and saying just obscure things, and a couple months later she ended up dying, unfortunately. But that's what the doctor said that he was looking for at that point, was a tumor that didn't exist. So another 3 or 4 months went by before his next appointment was scheduled with that doctor. But over the summer is where things started really getting even worse. And this is when we were damn sure that it was Alzheimer's. It got to a point where I didn't know what I was going to walk into when I came home late from work. Because my mom would go to bed, and my grandparents would sit up and watch TV late at night, and, you know, they would be up till like 1 or 2 in the morning watching old Western movies or whatever. And a lot of nights I would get home from work after 11 o'clock when I would get off, and I didn't know what he would be like. It was just like there were things that had happened where it was just like an instant change in his personality. You didn't know what you were getting from one second to the next. And there were nights where I came home and went to talk to him, you know, say hello and talk about, you know, my day or whatever, and see how things were, see how they were doing, and say goodnight and go to bed. And he would just be in what seemed like a bad mood. And there were nights where I would get it out of him that he thought that I had a stash of drugs and a stash of alcohol in the basement that he supposedly saw. He thought that I had a huge spread of alcohol and a huge spread of any kind of drug that you could possibly think of. He said that I had a table in the basement that was just scattered with any kind of drug you could think of, any kind of alcohol, whiskey, beer, anything you can think of. And he said I had it set up like a restaurant down in the basement. Any drug you want, any drink you want, anything, you can get it from me. And he said that that was to stop, or I would be thrown out of the house and discommunicated from the family. So that happened multiple times. He accused me of doing that like 3 or 4 times. And then this part is where it actually gets really kind of morbid. This is part of the story where I said that it's just going to be raw details of exactly what he said and what was going on. There were times where he accused me of having a sexual affair with my 95-year-old grandmother. And there were nights where, you know, after I would come downstairs and they'd be sitting up watching movies, if I was still up, a lot of times I would hear him come downstairs and go to bed. But there were nights where I didn't hear him come downstairs and try to go to bed. I found out afterwards, multiple times, actually my mother saw it one time, that when he would get in this mindset that I was having an affair with my grandmother, he would sit upstairs in the hallway in the living room in a reclining chair for basically half the night and wait for me to come upstairs and head for my grandmother's room because he thought that I was having sex with my grandmother every night. There were actually a couple of times where he came downstairs after that and came after me in my room, yelling and carrying on that he's getting a divorce from my grandmother after 60-some years of being married for whatever reason, and stating that he knows that something's going on between the two of us and he knows that she's cheating on him with me. And different things like that. A couple of times my mom heard the yelling and carrying on and woke up out of her bed in the middle of the night and came down to see what was going on. And he would my grandmother always knew when he was getting into that mindset, because when he would put her to bed at night and help her get in bed, he would just change personality instantly again, and he would shake his finger at her and just say that he knew what she was up to and weird vague stuff like that. So she knew that's when things like that were going to take place. In this instance right here is where we noticed that he is legitimately dangerous. One morning, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, he came after me in my room and woke me up out of a dead sleep, yelling and carrying on and F-bombing me up and down that I took his wallet. Again, his wallet was missing, all his money was gone, and I apparently had it because my mom didn't. 5 minutes before he came after me, he went upstairs after my mom with a fucking butcher knife. It was about that long. Charged upstairs 7 o'clock in the morning to my mother, who was putting on her makeup in the kitchen, and asked her where his fucking wallet was, and he knew that one of the two of us had it. And when she said that she didn't have it, he assumed it was me. So he came downstairs, charged into my room, 7 o'clock in the morning, woke me up out of bed, and I was waiting for him to start a fist fight at that point. He didn't have the knife anymore. My mom got the knife off of him before he came after me. But at that point, we knew something was seriously, seriously wrong. Something was not correct here. Something was seriously wrong in his brain, and we knew he was absolutely a danger to us at this point. So fast forward to August. In August, he finally had a new appointment with the family doctor who had scheduled a nuclear medicine brain scan. And this is the brain scan, unlike the CAT scan, that would determine ultimately if he had Alzheimer's or not, because we were absolutely 100% sure that he did, but the doctors had no proof of it, and they didn't believe that that's what he had. They didn't believe that it was Alzheimer's. They thought that he had, the dementia, all old people get like that. They're all going to be belligerent. They're all going to get forgetful. This was a lot more than that, and the doctor didn't feel that way about it. So he finally had the neurological nuclear medicine scan for his brain, and it showed that he has Alzheimer's in 5 out of the 7 lobes of his brain. Blew the doctor's mind. The doctor didn't expect that at all. So they finally got him medicated, and the medication really wasn't doing a whole lot for him anyway, because he was finding ways to get out of taking it. 1 out of the 3 pills that they prescribed him, he came up with this bullshit story that it made him defecate himself in the middle of the night and soil his underwear. So the nurse at the doctor's office believed him and told him not to take that pill anymore. So that's 1 pill out of the 3 that was just prescribed to him that he's no longer taking. He said that the other 2 pills were making him real woozy and not right, and he felt real funny when he took them. So the 1 pill he was told to have cut in half and have a half a dose of. So my mom would have to use a little pill cutter and cut his other nighttime pill in half for him to actually take it and not throw it in the garbage. But there were times where he would just do whatever with the pills, throw them in the garbage, or God knows what. God knows where he put them all. And he would just skip his dose, and he would get real funny in the head the next day or 2 after that. It wasn't working. He wouldn't take his pills if he didn't want to, and there was no stopping that. So fast forward into the fall, he started getting real funny again. We noticed that the disease was accelerating a little bit, because he started accusing me and my mom of stealing his tools, hiding his tools, pranking his his machinery, like his lawnmower, his quad, or the truck, punching holes in the tires of the truck because he had a flat tire, just accusations of just random stuff like that. And anytime anything would go wrong with anything, he would say that we were pranking him and he was on to us, and things just were going missing and things were going wrong because we were out to get him, and he knew that we were behind it all, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But in January of this year, of 2017, he had a major meltdown out of absolutely nowhere. We were having supper, my mom's friend came over, we were just hanging out and talking and having a good time, and everything was fine. Nobody was fighting, nobody had any accusations, nobody had any gripes about anything. And then he just, like, clicked again. His personality changed again. And he got up, wanted to go take his pill, and just went in the other room and sat there and just kind of stared and didn't want to talk to anybody. And when we tried to find out what was wrong or what upset him, he would snap our heads off and start yelling and carrying on that he was fine, don't bother him. And he wouldn't talk to anybody very much other than that. And a couple of days later, he went to bed, and the next morning he wouldn't get up. He did not come upstairs all day. My mom checked on him twice and got F-bombed out of the room. And I think it was the third time my mom checked on him to see, if he wanted something to eat or something. He told her, I know what you did, blah, 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 blah. And she said she didn't know what was wrong. And then she got it out of him that he believed in his mind and his delusions that she threw him down the stairs. He landed on top of me. I got pissed off, and she came down the stairs, and we beat him with baseball bats all the way into his room. We broke his back, shattered his glasses, pulled his hair out, and we busted his dentures. And he wanted nothing to do with us because we tried to kill him. And he told my mother while I was at work that night, I'm going to take care of you by midnight. And that, as far as Alzheimer's is concerned, is a direct threat. He was indeed going to harm somebody that night. So that is the one and only time that the crisis unit was actually called to come and deal with him, or at least talk to him and try to get him to snap out of this. So I came home early from work that night to kind of assist everything and see what we could do to take care of it. So long story short, the crisis center people got him to voluntarily go to the hospital to get x-rays of his supposed broken back because we had supposedly beaten him so bad. And the next option was, if he didn't voluntarily go, they were going to escort him out via police and send him down to the hospital anyway. The crisis people were not going to leave that night unless he went with them, because they determined that he was indeed very dangerous. He was sent to the hospital for a psychic evaluation that night, and that was January 12th. Fast forward about a week and a half later, maybe 2 weeks later, we got a call that he was officially placed in a personal care facility not too far from here, and that he was never to come home because the doctors up there decided that he was in no condition to be in a home environment and that he was a danger to everybody, including himself. So he is no longer in the household, and he is getting the care that he needs. He's safe, we're safe, and he is finally getting the help that he needs. So that is kind of the happy ending that I posted about on Facebook when it had happened that I was going to make this video about, and that chapter is finally over. The worst is finally over. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I hope it sheds some light on the symptoms of Alzheimer's and how people act when they get that. That's the main reason I made this video and wanted to, is because I wanted to shed some light on that in case a loved one of yours or somebody that you know is experiencing the symptoms that I had just described, and to let you know that it might be a very serious condition. It might be Alzheimer's, and you need to really get that checked out and get the help that they need as quick as possible. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, keep coming back for more. I love you guys. See you in the next video.